Hello and welcome everyone to our event today. I'm happy to see the large number of you here present. We'll be covering today two of the hottest topics in the Atlassian tools currently. The first one is, as you may already know, due to the deprecation of the server licenses, we'll be talking about migrations from server licenses to cloud or to data center license. And then we'll discuss how you can make your life easier with the use of asset management and forms in with Jira software and Jira Service Management. Just a short information, this event is organized by Seavus, which is part of their Coma group. We are 4,500 people oriented for the European market. A little bit about me. My name is Chadomir Dimitrovsk and I'll be your host today. I'm working already 14 years with Seavus, currently holding the head of ITSM vendor management position. And I'm managing the team that works with different ITSM tools, but currently we're discussing the Atlassian tools today. With me I have two of our best people in the team. Ms. Nadica Gaber, she is the technical lead with the team. And we have Mr. Nenad Micic, intermediate Atlassian specialist. They'll be covering the two subjects, as I mentioned, Atlassian migrations to cloud and asset management with Jira. So I'll invite Nadica Gaber to start the first part of the presentation. So Nadica, please.
Thank you, Trello. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. I am very happy to be in our Stockholm office here today, and very happy to be with you and share with all of you here and all of you who are watching us via the YouTube channel our expertise, our know-hows, and our takeaways in relates to migrating the Atlassian tools from on-prem to the cloud. Let me take my... Okay, I will go one step back before I start explaining how we do the migrations, and I will talk a little bit about why going on cloud at first. Chadomir already mentioned that Atlassian decided to discontinue the server licenses by the end of 2024, but however, we've been doing migrations even before Atlassian introduced this discontinuing of the server licenses. That is because some of their customers recognize the value of being on cloud. Why is that? You can see in the picture in the presentation that when you host the Atlassian tools on your own premises, when they are self-managed, then a customer needs to take care of the server where these applications are running, so of the operating system, maintaining both the hardware and the software on the place where these tools are running. Also, they're responsible for upgrading the Atlassian tools, etc. Whereas if you are a customer on cloud, you only worry about the administration and the subscription fee. The underlying structure that hosts the Atlassian tools is actually fully taken care of by Atlassian. This way, you're actually freeing up resources to be that devices or people that will be taking care of the applications and everything. You free up these resources to actually move them towards new investments in your company, and then you have a better place on the market overall. So this is the value that customers recognized previously, and now, however, by 2024, the server licenses will be discontinued, and all of the Atlassian customers will, of course, need to move on cloud, or Atlassian gives another solution for their customers that simply cannot store their data outside of their premises, and that is the data center enterprise solution. Now, if you're a customer and you are deciding to move from the on-prem to cloud, there are a few things that we advise our clients to take into consideration, and we walk through whole this journey with them before they make the final decision that they will be actually going on cloud and how all of that will be done. The first thing that we help the customer assess is whether they're allowed to go on the cloud actually, because Atlassian hosts their applications on AWS in different locations around the world. However, you're aware that there are some banking companies from the banking industry, from the regulatory industries, etc., that cannot store their information there, or they need to have precise knowledge on how this information is stored and processed. Atlassian gives an option for data residency at some extent, and together with Atlassian, and if you are the ones that are considering and contemplating migrating, we can assess whether the cloud is the right solution for you. It usually is, because as I mentioned, there is data residency, but at some extent you can choose to pin most of your data at location per you're choosing. However, some of the data is not pinned, and that is we can help you if you decide to go this route to determine whether this is the right way for you. This is, so far I was talking about the main underlying applications like Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket, Jira, Confluence, and Bitbucket. However, if you are already an Atlassian customer, you know that you don't only have the underlying tools, but you have a lot of add-ons on top of Jira or Confluence or Bitbucket. And the thing is that while on-prem, if the add-on that was installed on top of these applications were storing and processing information, this information was stored on the same location when Jira or Confluence was stored. On the cloud, we have a little bit of different situation. Some of the add-ons, but this is a very small number, store the data where Atlassian tool is hosted, but most of them store and host the data on their own location. Therefore, we've helped customers so far. We've had, for example, one migration very recently when the customer had over 25 add-ons installed on top of Jira. And together with them, we went on this journey to assess where each of these add-ons stores the information. We've even helped them establish good cooperation with the vendor, because they had very strict legal processes and some additional data processing agreement should have been signed between this customer and the vendor. This is a journey, but it's always done of course, with our help, and the vendors are aware of these requirements that customers might have and are pretty cooperative. Now, this is, so far I was talking about the storage of the data. Now, another aspect that is very important before you decide to migrate, and when you start to prepare, and when we've prepared with our customers, is not only where the data is stored with these add-ons, but do the functionalities that these add-ons provide on the on-prem solution and on the cloud match. Sometimes they will not. But so far, we've managed to find replacements. It doesn't have to be from the same vendor. It might be another vendor that will provide the same or similar functionalities that were there on on-prem, and to replace them carefully on the cloud. So before we migrate, we together with our customers, we assess whether they can migrate, the add-on data, and how they can do it, and of course, what is the best way to go to how would I say, keep the functionalities that we have on on-prem to be matched and same as they are on cloud. After we finish these journeys of assessing and preparing everything, we go on and choose the migration method with which we will migrate, we will actually do the migration itself. Now, Atlassian provides, I would say, two methods, and these two methods are used in different situations. The two methods are the Jira and Confluence, and there is also a Bitbucket migration assistant. First one is this, and the second one is full XML exports and imports. I will start with the migration tools at first. The migration tools are actually add-ons provided by Atlassian that are installed on top of the on-prem solution. And what they do is they bring the data that you choose from your on-prem tool to the cloud. When you migrate with this tool, we don't overwrite what is there already. We simply add what we want from the on-prem to what is there already on cloud. And this is more suitable method for migration for customers that already have something on their cloud instance and they want to maybe merge some another instance, or they have two instances, one server and cloud, they want to bring something from the server to the cloud. Or also where you have a smaller number of users, if the user tier is smaller, then Atlassian suggests that their customers and us partners use the cloud migration assistant. The Jira Full Cloud XML import and export, as well as Confluence, on the other hand, they don't bring only what you choose from the on-prem solution to to your destination site. But they overwrite everything there is on the destination. So this type of method is more applicable for customers that don't have nothing on cloud and they're now moving from on-prem to the cloud. Or we've had a case where a customer had a project with over 500, over 500,000 tickets, and the migration assistant simply couldn't do the job, couldn't migrate this amount of data in one project, and we've opted then for the other migration method. So these are the methods we use. We've talked about the methods of migration. We've talked about the add-ons. Another very important part that we spend time on together with the customers is the users. User migration strategy is a specific aspect that I'm enhancing here, and that is because user handling differs a lot in the on-prem and on the cloud. Namely, if you are Atlassian users already, you know that on-prem, your unique identifier with which you log in and start working in the system is the username, whereas on cloud, that is the email address of the users. So we've had many situations where we needed to tweak the users to modify the users on the on-prem so they match with how the customers would like to use, how the customers would like their authentication to be on the cloud. There are many user migration strategies. I can say that we've done this user manipulation in many ways, directly into database, with in-house tools that we've developed to help us change email addresses or usernames in bulk, etc. However, this is something that customer migrating to cloud needs to take into consideration very carefully, because the users, before you migrate anything from the on-prem solution to the cloud, the users must be brought to a format that is suitable for the cloud user management. The user migration strategy depends on, of course, the products that are being migrated, whether they are users from external directories, It depends on the migration method used that I've mentioned previously, and of course, it depends on whether the customer plans to use SSO, single sign-on, with Atlassian access. There are some other tweaks and things that should be done before you migrate the users, so the everything is propagated as it should at the end of the migration. This is, I will guide you through our process on how we do the migrations, and I think that this is a very good example, and we advise you to go this way if you plan to migrate. First of all, a test migration is a must. We advise to do at least 2 test migrations. I will tell you now why. With the first test migration, because of the different type of add-ons that are present on the marketplace, and because of the fact that most of them are migrated in a different way, then with the first test migration, the customer or a partner such as us goes through all these items and finalizes all the steps how all the items will be migrated to the cloud. But because this can be a back and forth exercise, a second test migration is needed, because at the point of the second test migration, we already know the steps, and what we do is we count down the duration of each step that is taken, that is needed, in order to the migration to be completed from the beginning to its end. And why is this? Because we must, each customer needs to know about the downtime, namely when you're migrating the data, they will have a certain downtime. And so these all times and steps that we take during the migration are calculated, the time is summed up, and we, at the end, know how much time will actually the production migration take. And we discuss this, we check the timelines with the stakeholders, and of course repeat that if needed. I'm gonna go ahead and show you when I'm talking about two test migrations, and I've mentioned, I'm saying we're writing down each steps that we take, how much time does it take, which team is responsible. This is how it looks like. So it is always recommended to have one very detailed, one very structured and detailed runbook with all the steps that because migrations are not sometimes, but they're common exercise. Client involvement and some actions from their side is needed as well, especially especially for example, taking snapshots from their on-prem solution before we do some manipulations. So I will go here and show it to you that we even divide the steps that we need to take into what we need to do before downtime, what can be performed after downtime, steps can be performed in downtime and from one or from multiple accounts. So it's very detailed. We have the times here. Basically, each and every tweak that needs to be done into the database, checks before the migrations, and this is how the steps of one big migration looks like. So we do the the test migrations. We fill out this runbook, we tweak it, we start filling it with the first test migration, then we finalize it with the second test migration. If something comes up, some vendor changed the way they're handling an add-on or etc., maybe this exercise needs to be repeated. However, if all of this is done and the runbook is detailed and all that I've mentioned, so the add-ons and the user migration strategy is taken into consideration, migrations are executed very smoothly. So as a summary, I would say that migrations from on-prem to cloud are neither trivial, but also not a very complex exercise or a job. Why? They're not trivial, because as I've mentioned, there are so many aspects that customer needs to think of, and us as partners as well. These are the data, the data storage, the add-on and their functionalities, the users and how they will authenticate. How would the customer replace something if it's not existent on cloud, etc. It is not very complex on the other hand, because as I've mentioned, with proper planning, with documenting all the steps, we've completed many simple but also very complex migrations, stressless and without any issues. So planning and assessing are crucial for successful migration. Document each relevant step into a file. We use Confluence, of course, because it's our native document management system. And of course, we always advise to don't skip steps, do all the needed pre-migration, during migration, and post-migration checks. We do it when we do migrations, of course, so we are certain that the migration will be executed swiftly. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nadica. Before we continue with Nenad, I just want to ask to let everybody know that we'll have a Q&A session afterwards. We'll have like a panel session, including our other technician here. So please remember your questions. Ask Nenad to finish his presentation, and then we'll have a discussion about about the different topics that you may want to have discussion. Thank you, Nenad.
Thank you, Nadica, for breaking the ice and setting bar too high. But yeah, I will tend to maintain. Before I start, I would like to prepare everything because we are presenting from same. So just one moment, please. Is that right?
It was open.
Yep. So there we go. Now let's see if this works. Nadica, can you? It's the same. It's the same. I turned down yours, so. Okay, we can do it like this as well. So, before I start explaining what we are doing and what we try to present here, I want to level us so we're on the same page. Asset in most common term is way of systematically maintain, monitor, upgrade, and dispose in most cost-effective way of your assets and items like either software license, either peripherals and stuff like that. In Jira, it's kind of a way of managing your changes, incidents, and basically that. But how we understand and what we are going to present to you today is basically that asset is giving Jira and ticketing system a new depth. So with an asset, you will have a possibility to objectify everything that you need to work with, and also that defer to either buildings, either locations, either any kind of information that you think it's relative for your further work and for let's say ticket spreading or classifying. So how does it look? I need to show you this in real because it's kind of. I'll take seat down so you can see better. So asset inside of just a moment. Where's my mouse now? There's my mouse, okay. I apologize for this, let's go. So asset in most common sense is CMDB, where you can store the object schemas. Each object schemas can present the unity of an object and attributes that are related to a certain field that you want to present. They can also be connected among themselves, and they can be later on used and search like that, because when you connect them, when you use one object from one schema inside as an attribute in other object, it can in that point create a reference, and that reference are spread like inbound and outbound reference depending on what you want. So if you go like that, you can have, for example, import your Active Directory and use the employees as objects in this case, so you can have a better overview. I'll use my coworker that just presented as an example. So we can store the details like the name, job title, office. We can even connect Jira user to it, and we can get all the information that we needed. On the right side, we see that inbound reference are the objects that are connected to her, and below that we can see the active Jira users, active Jira tickets that she is currently assigned to. Not Nadica especially, but this object that are related to her. And how you manipulate the attributes is really interesting, because each attribute can be object from a different schema, and what will be presented inside of that attribute is can be manipulated again with an AQL or asset query language in this situation. So I use this example to show you the power of it, because all of this data is pulled from a single object type. I forgot to mention that this is the object types and this is the attributes of that object. So if we go back, again my mouse is if we go back and check the peripherals where it's pulled, you can create an object type each for everything, or you can just state it as everything and then later on classify it inside of the attributes. So what I did there in those attributes field is I said, okay, in laptop you will only present the objects that are stated as a type of a laptop. So everything else is not selectable inside of that field. And I also did that for phones, for monitors, for everything. So in case you want to update it with the wrong, it will just not allow you. So this is the most common thing to show. Also, there is a graphic interface for everything, so you can have a better understanding of relation between the objects. So if we go back to Nadica and say object graph and give him a moment, just I apologize for this. Something is messing up. I presume that it's give me a moment. No, something is messing it up, and I assume that it's PowerPoint, but graphic user interface is as same as the one we show you here. So this is the GUI that I wanted to present, and you can see all the related connections between the object that you're looking for, or in this case, exchange product, to everything else. The level of the detail that you can achieve, I'm really struggling here. What's going on? So the level of the detail that you can achieve through this is tremendous, especially if you want to see items like imported through the discovery. So as you can see, this is all the information that discovery can pull in manually. But furthermore about it in the part where we will go through the ways to import the stuff. Now, the second part. So how do we connect it? I'm sorry, I will leave it like this just so it doesn't interfere with the live presentation anymore. How do we connect the database to the Jira ticketing? This is the asset custom field. Anyone who used the Jira so far know that there are various types of custom field that can be configured for your purpose. Asset custom field is a bit different. It's one field that can present whatever you'd like through the query. So best way to understand it is to think of it as a query on a click. So these are the scopes where you can enter the correct query, and it will present you with the detail that you were looking for. So in example, you can limit it for a certain user which can be searched through, or you can have a default value based on a different custom field and stuff like that. So I can better show you that again through the live example of what's going on. So let's go, for example, to the customer portal, and let's say we would like to request a new hardware. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the field that raised this request in behalf of, and that's basically the reporter. If I change that reporter, for example, to one of our coworkers, you will notice that the default value will be automatically set to an object with the same name. So that's what I explained previously in asset custom field. That's done through the AQL. So basically the query of that field is set to match the reporter in the exact value of the database. And then you can go to a summary and say request new. You can also notice one of the good perks of Jira Service Management is that you will get provided with knowledge base and probably the answer if you can sort it out on yourself and why we need it, right? And now the second part. So this is how you can update things manually. And now I wanted to present you how you can use the asset to create a dynamic environment when you come to a ticketing and to your process. So if we go to available peripherals, we will see that we have no available option because this field is dependent on the previous field. And that means that we can only select available peripherals that are available in the specific office because we created a reference between those objects. So each available object that is in stock is connected to a certain office. So if I go here and choose an office that is, for example, Belgrade, I will have now available options for peripherals that are in stock, that are not broken, and that is available for use for that purpose. Now, this is only a beginning. The classification of what needs to go there can be further on based on previous, on the reporter. For example, if he's a senior, if he's intermediate, how you classify who get what equipment. That can also be automated. Further use is in case the Belgrade is empty, you can get a list of objects that is in the same country that can be shipped really fast, so you don't have to order a new or create anything else. And let's say he needs a new laptop, and yeah, we will add it and we will create this ticket. Now let's go to an agent view so you can see how does it look. So this is the graphic presentation of custom field, asset custom field, and its object. If we go here, now this is what I wasn't able to show you previously because of the PowerPoint, but you can see all the things that is related to our coworker Igor. So at this point, he's the part of the office Belgrade. He's related to that. He's related to his. He already have certain thing on his name, his job title that can be used for a further search. I will show you that because Jira have integration, or you can call the NiQL function through the filtering, so that can give you additional power when you want to route the tickets and stuff like that. So this is the graphic presentation of it. You can change the depth of the connection. So for example, you can have a further and see how this is all related. You can have an owner, so this is if you go in depth to see everything related to Belgrade office, etc., etc. But at this point, we just want to focus on our coworker here. Now, that part of how you can create a dependency based on an object is presented. I want to now show you how objects can be automated, or in this case, we now have available peripheral. So all items shown in this custom field are in stock. They are not broken, like I mentioned, and they are in Office Belgrade. And for in case this is something that needs to be approved by a manager or staff or someone who is responsible for that, and he say, yeah, okay, we can assign this to him, and we place it in progress. This will trigger automation that will update the attributes of those objects. So as you recall, Igor previously didn't possess anything in his name, or the SIR 315381 didn't have an owner. But now we changed that, and because I need to refresh it, because it's cache. And yeah, it didn't trigger the automation again. Okay, I apologize for this, but let's give him some time. There we go. So this is updated now, and we now see that available peripheral is no longer there because it's no longer available. We changed the status of it and put it in action because it's no longer in stock. One of our users have it, and we updated the owner of it, and we also updated the laptop that is currently owned by our coworker. But if we pull this and go, we will see that status has changed and that owner is now Igor. So that is something that can be achieved through an automation and how the asset can be further utilized. The second thing that I wanted to present is how we can manipulate and use the actual attributes of an object inside of filtering. Because now, as you know, filtering is working based on a set of rules where you said, okay, I want this project with this custom field, and that custom field need to have a certain value. What attribute add to it is basically you said, okay, I want this project and I want an object that have a certain attribute. So in our situation, even in the tickets that are not currently have an office inside of it, but have a reporter detail filled in or reporter detail added, as I mentioned on the previous ticket, you can filter it out and say an AQL function that will say I need all the tickets where the reporter is have an attribute of Belgrade office, and I will get all of this. And if we go, for example, to one of the tickets that do not possess, as you can see, an office, it will still show up on the query, because we are not filtering a certain custom field, we are filtering the values of an attribute of an object here. So this is really powerful thing when you consider the ticket routing, and you have a company that's working on several either countries or continents and things like that. Then this can further be utilized by creating specific rule to notify who needs to be notified. And further on, it can also be saved as a filter applied to a dashboard, so you can have a specific dashboard who will be in the same project but assigned to a certain group of people. Okay, I just explained this because I'm going too far when I want to, not be left unspoken. Now the interesting part: get that data to an insight. Now. I would like to start with the discovery, and that's the part where you saw the hosts. Discovery is a service that can be applied to a certain server and then can be configured to target the IP ranges or whatever is that you need to be target. It can work as a service, or we can apply an agent to a certain item like personal laptop, which is not always with the same IP or in network, to a phone and everything that are part of your asset. That way it will gather all the information like users, if you recall, like specification of it, permissions, applied patches, and I can basically show you again the level of the details. So this is all done automatically. And as you can see here, we have licenses, file systems, storages, CPUs, network interface, application, and even application services, where you can have all the details that you would prefer based on a VMI query that you can apply. How this operates? It's run through scripts that are powered by PowerShell, and when you apply on a certain scan those scripts, it will pull out the data. Since they are available to you, you can manipulate them and change the scan whatever you would like. Recently, we have a request to add logon or the responsible user who is triggering certain service or application service in this matter. So we altered the pattern, so it pulled additional data through the VMI query. And this is a powerful tool, by my opinion. Second and third are JSON and CSV import. What is important to understand about this is that when you provide us with one of those documents that contain that, we can create a mapping of importing the data. That means that data can, through the import, be related as you prefer. So we create everything, and you can just process to apply the new and updated version of that document, and it will automatically update all the objects inside. Like again, I would like to emphasize that it will automatically connect the objects, update their references, and everything that is changed based from the previous. And that mapping is saved, so you don't have to do it every time once you know what you want. And the last part is external import that is still it's in use, but it's also in development. That means that you can connect outside sources, so you import the data automatically. And it basically works the same as the previous. Once you create a mapping, it will then be automatically updated and fill in the database. It is really important that to understand that the asset is standalone. And there is a question, okay, we have some sort of application, or we are already using stuff like this in other application. Yes, you do, but you do not use those applications inside of the Jira, and that is the huge advantage of it, because not every manager is IT, knowledgeable. Nor is his responsibility to know how other systems work. What you can do with this, you can use those data that you already have and provide him so he can operate smoothly, and process can be altered so it's most cost effective. Also, it will help agents inside of the Jira Service Management to better understand. As you saw, you have a list of attributes at the click of it. So for every either office or employee, you will have a list of things that agent need to know, so he can better relay or route the ticket to whoever is responsible of it. And now we're come to the last part of my presentation, and that's the form, also a new feature inside of Jira Service Management that can be utilized for much of things, but we had experience with utilizing with an asset management. So either you know the standard look of Jira Service Management ticketing, you just saw it, and this is new thing. Consider it as a PDF document that can be applied to every ticket at every step, and just leave the necessary details or additional details to a certain ticket. But what also can be done through this is you can connect every one of those fields to a custom field inside of the Jira, and that way you can trigger an automation or manipulate it further. How we utilize it is at a certain point in the process, if you want to acquire additional information or create a new object, or for example, you just order a hardware and that hardware has arrived and responsible IT person know all the details at a certain point, he can fill in this form and automatically create an object inside of an asset, and that way you can transfer all your work to a database. Now I remember that important thing is to understand regarding the asset is that all of them have their permissions. So every object schema can be provided to a certain agent for him to maintain and update and do whatever is necessary for it. So this is the same, but he wouldn't need to do when we know all the detail, and we already receive all the details when the end user is providing us with them. So we just skip additional manual work. I would like to show quickly how it can how it can look. So let's say we want to order a new laptop and we say we need it for Skopje office. Yes, we are. And yeah, let's do it like this. And please remember this. Now this is the standard view as I mentioned before, and it can be done like this. And now if we go to an agent view, an agent say, okay, this is something that we need to do, and then send it to a responsible person who need to order it, and he say, okay, we order it, and please, when it arrives, fill in the details. We will trigger an automation that will apply the correct form directly to the process, to the ticket. And if we reload this, we will see that. Now, this is a form view that can be edited by anyone. This is really important because it will not take additional licensing. So an end user who is not an agent can help us and fill in the details which are connected to custom fields, and those custom fields will again trigger an automation that will create an object based on this. Now let me really fast pull out some prepared details for it. Let's go like this to show you. Okay, I need to edit it first. Let's call it like this. Let's call it Blender is Dell. Processor is CPU, model is G17, correct. RAM is 16 gigabytes. Value, let's say 150. We have device ID, which is like this. Purchase date can be stored here, and warranty will expire in 2 years, let's say. Okay, when we save as submitted, this will again, like I said, trigger an automation that will create an object based on this, and it's easy for us to set. We need to go here and search for it inside of peripherals. Nope. There we go. And this is, as you can see here, newly created one. We have expiry, we have warranty expiration date, we have purchase date, and we automatically create an object that we can further use. CMDB as it is can be also used to monitor the expiring one. Like I said on the beginning, it can still be used in a traditional way, so you can maintain this kind of the object and the items. and it can also process the advanced query that can be saved, and further on dedicated agents can monitor those and also apply. And I think that's... So what is the future of an insight? The most common thing in the future is asset custom field will be available to be added to a form that will additionally help in the process, because as it is now, only the standard custom fields are supported by it, but in the future we will be able to use that in the same manner. Our focus is to find and to practice the way to integrate it with the most common systems that are out there, like Active Directory. So in future you will be able to upload all the employee attributes that you already have inside of it and utilize it as I currently show. So create an object based on it with all the attributes that can be used for the further purpose. And Thank you for being patient. I hope this was quite clear and that you have some questions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nenad. It was really good presentation.
Thank you.
Then thank you everyone for staying with us. We can start the Q&A session right now. So if you have any questions, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, I mean, if we have any questions from either the audience here or on the YouTube channel, we can answer those.
On the YouTube channel, no questions so far. I mean, there was one, but
Yeah, already answered. Yeah. Okay, so if there are no questions, I just want to let everybody know that we'll have another session in 2 days. In Malmo. We'll cover the same topic, so if everybody missed this one, you can join us on the second one. Thank you, everybody. On a small gathering in the next room, so we can chit chat.